Screenwriters have now been on strike for more than 4 months. Talks with the studios that employ them have been spotty, but are expected to resume this week. The WGA negotiating committee asked for members to continue demonstrating and picketing. The benefits of that activity having paid off as a few talk shows reversed their plans to cross the picket line and start up again, like Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO and the Drew Barrymore Show on CBS, which is owned by our parent company, Paramount Global. To check in on the state of negotiations, I'm joined by Meg James, a senior entertainment writer for the LA Times. Meg, will you reset the conversation for those who haven't been following it quite closely over the last 4 months? What are the main issues at stake here?
Well, thank you, John. There are a lot of really core issues that have really been upsetting to the writers and the actors, one of which is residuals, the amount of money that they get paid, as well as future issues such as the use of artificial intelligence and just how popular their shows are when they stream. Right now, the streaming companies don't provide a lot of data on the popularity of their shows beyond much of a top 10 list. But there are issues about being paid for their work and being valued for their work.
And that streaming number, the reason streaming is important, as I understand it, is that if you wrote for a blockbuster show that's doing really, really well, you might expect a little more compensation. But if you don't know the numbers, you don't know whether a show is doing well or not. Is that essentially it?
That's precisely the point, is that in the older model, the linear television model, the writers, the producers, the actors, they all knew how many people watched their show. And so they could get value if they worked on a big hit. Nowadays, that's not the case. The streamers tend to pay a little bit more upfront, but they don't have the higher residuals that the previous past business model allowed.
And so, Meg, finally, where is the weight of pressure at this moment on either side? Does one side or the other have an advantage at this point as they go back into negotiations?
That's a great question, because the leverage has really sort of been paired. I mean, the studios have tremendous leverage. They obviously are the ones that write the checks, but the writers have really held out longer than people than expected. They have displayed remarkable solidarity. As they resume talks, which will happen tomorrow, it will be incumbent for both sides to try to sort of find a middle ground. Everyone is just exhausted, John. People have been tired of being out of work for 5 months. You know, people's tensions are high. People are worried that they're not going to be able to afford their homes, their kids' school payments. And so people really want this to be over.
Meg James from the Los Angeles Times, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.